Good morning. Here at the Angry Old Goat, let's talk about charging systems. This is 1966 Pontiac GTO. Originally, this came with a 10DN alternator. 10DNs currently are available 42 amp, 55 amp, or 63 amp. And they're externally regulated. Mechanical type of regulator assembly. 2010, we upgraded this to what we have here. This is a 12 SI off of a 1984 Camaro, 94 amps. We did this upgrade when we first converted to fuel injection. At that time it was a fast EFI system. Fuel pump obviously got added at that point for the fuel injection, so obviously increased electrical demand on the car. Currently, here we are, 2025. We've got a Holley EFI system on here. We've got the AC, been working for years now. We've got amps in the trunk. There's a SPAL fan in front of the condenser. We've got a larger amp draw fuel pump in the tank now. We've added Dakota digital gauges over the years. There's a transmission controller for the torque converter from HGM. We have USB chargers. All the lighting's been replaced with LEDs, so that kind of takes away some of the amp requirements. But our amp requirement's huge compared to what this car originally came with. Our cruise we were on a couple weeks ago. Pouring down rain, high humidity, AC's running. Notice that our charging voltage, standing at stoplights or parked, we were dropped down to 11.6, 11.8. Not cool. Fully charged battery is 12.65. A 12 volt battery technically is dead battery, 0% state of charge. Fully charged 12.65 would be 100% state of charge. Hence, if we're down to under 12 volts, we're not doing anything. We're hurting ourselves. So we're going to go through and verify the integrity of this current alternator. Make sure we don't have any massive voltage drops anywhere in the system. And we're going to do a nice little upgrade that we'll get to. So let's go through. Check our static voltages just as we are right now. So our static voltage right now at our battery, 12.69. So our battery's 100% state of charge. So we should see that same voltage anywhere I check throughout this charging system or electrical system. So if we check our terminal at the very back of our battery, get our leads untangled. .69. We have no voltage drop. Now keep in mind we're static. We should not have any voltage drop because we're not actually having anything on. There's no amp draw, etc. And on the firewall here, I have a junction block that I have everything leading to. .69. And for argument's sake, let's see right now if we have any amp draw. Amp draw right now is 0.13 amp. Probably our keep alive for clocking the digital gauge setup, the Dakota Digitals. We have power on at all times for the ECU, for the Holley EFI. I imagine it probably has an amp draw also, but we are very minimal amp draw. So, let's start this up at idle and see what we got. Alright, let's start this up now, see what our numbers look like. Keys, gotta have keys. At our battery. About 10 amps going back to the battery. Back of the alternator. .54. So we have about a 0.2 voltage drop. Time we go from the alternator back to the battery. That's within an acceptable limit. At the back of the alternator, we're putting out about 23 amps. This is at idle. Now keep in mind the disparity between what the alternator is putting out amperage and what's actually being delivered to the battery is because of the junction block where everything comes off of. And we'll check our battery voltage there. .46. So we have from the alternator to our junction stud, a 0.1 voltage drop, and from that junction stud to get to the battery, it goes down to the starter, and then from the starter up to the battery, we have another 0.1 drop. Now, I'm going to turn on the AC, turn on all our lights, get the stereo running, and let's see what happens to our numbers at idle. Stereo is a Bluetooth connection. There we go, we're connected. Turn on some Pandora. Now I have everything on. We're down to 14.2, 14.1. At the battery, alternator, 14.3. So we're maintaining that same 0.2 amp or voltage drop. Output at the alternator amperage. About 46 amps. That's getting to the battery. About 4 amps. Just run for a minute. I want that condenser fan to come on. There we go. Condenser fan's on. We're at 13.2. Amp output. About 55 amps dead idle right now. There we go. 12.9. So ideally, you want to keep this voltage on this charging system up around about 14.5, 14.7 is ideal. And we are nosediving. We're down to 12.6. All right, condenser fan kicks off. We're instantly back to 13, 13.5. There we go. Pressure kicks on. We're down to 13.1. There's recovered. 13.6. About 45 amps. Now if we run this up in RPM just a little bit, amperage never really changed, neither did voltage. We really get the RPM up. We're sitting about 45 amps, about 13.5 volts. Now, as I said earlier, this is supposed to be a 94 amp alternator. And we can prove that. And see, right now we're down to 12.4. See, that condenser fan kicks off, we're back to 13. But I digress. But we can prove the output of this alternator. Kick everything off. We have everything off. There's the engine running. Bring out the old carbon pile. We're about, well, we just set them with our digital meter, about 13.5. So if I start loading this bad boy, there's 50 amps. We're about falling fast. We're down at 12. Let's give it some RPM when we do this. Just about 100 amps, keeping her above 12 volts, 12.5 volts. So technically, this alternator, for what it's advertised as, is still a good alternator. The demands that we're placing on it are beyond its capability. Let me shut this noise meter off. So, to that end, allow me to bring to you, or bring to the angry old goat, the Powermaster. This one is a 47 283 104. This is what we're going to be replacing. Stay, boo-boo. This is what we're going to be replacing this old 12SI with. This is a more modern, updated 12SI. These actually come with a dyno sheet from Powermaster. I opted for the max output 150 amp model. The dyno card that came with this one at idle, suppose this one's capable of 102 amps. Mid-range 141 amps. It's advertised at 150, but according to the dyno card, this one actually put out 160 amps. Now, the first thing you may notice, I'm not sure if we can see it here in the camera. Not really. Let's zoom in here. It is. There we go. The difference in pulley size. And once I get the other one out, we'll actually put a tape measure on this for you. So they advertise that if you go to this Powermaster, you need a 1 inch shorter belt. Smaller pulley, you're going to spin it faster. You know, we even gave this one the benefit of the doubt by bringing the RPM up. Still didn't really change our output. On the March system that we've got in here for the serpentine conversion, I can actually adjust the idler pulley over here up and down. I can compensate for that difference. So we're going to put a spacer in over here after I release the belt, or take tension off that belt, to keep the distance between the idler over here and the tensioner pulley, and then we'll set this pulley in place. The spacer, I'm going to use just a little bit bigger than the gap that's there presently. That way we keep the same adjustment range, etc. And I was told I used the word etc. too many times. So, first thing we're going to do is take a break and let this cool off. Because I'm not flat rate and I don't have to burn myself to do work anymore. And hopefully by then the blower's done. So we'll see you in a little bit. Alright, we're back. Did a little yard work while we let this cool off. So let's swap these alternators out and see where we're at. First thing we're going to do, disconnect the ground on our clean power. We'll take the ground off our chassis. Get the air filter out of the way. So, we'll put the space in there and we put it back together. How about that? That should work. We'll do it that way. That one's definitely bigger. The new one is definitely bigger. 10 mil, that was right. Doobie doobie doo. We may have to, in fact I'm pretty sure, oh that might be big enough. Let's say put a new eyelet on this. And I didn't bring the wrench for the ground. I don't remember, 15 maybe? I'm guessing. I don't remember. It is. All right. That's definitely a bigger size down there. Guess I could have put some tools on, automated tools on this. But I guess we're almost done now. Don't really matter, does it? Need the next size up. Well, that's just going to fight me all the way out, isn't it? Just ain't got no room in there. Oh, there we go. Got it. It's a long bolt. Come on. All right, we'll do this quick before that compressor kicks back on. Don't buy an oilless compressor. Ridiculous amount of noise in there. Can you do this without an impact gun? Maybe. I've done it. It sucks. Oh, that don't want to come off. Come on, baby. One thing to be said for being a technician for over 35 years, I probably got a tool for that. Should have looked at my backpack. Hi. Sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it, go big. Excuse my French. These shouldn't be on there. That's right. I could be wrong. So let's start out gentle, just a little 1/4 inch. And if we have to, we can get ugly with it. We can get real ugly with it if we have to. Ta-da! Sometimes you gotta break out the big dog tools. Alright. I always check to make sure your alternator rotates before bolting everything down. And like I said, we're going to reuse the smaller pulley that came with the Powermaster. That's what that is. So this alternator will spin at a faster rate. There we go. Thank you for playing. That's on me, trying to be in a hurry. Don't mind me. Just redoing things we've already done. Don't be in a hurry. That's my advice for the day. I don't believe, there it is, we lined up. Now it is. Or maybe even weak. I don't know. Oops, wrong nut. Wrong nut. Correct nut. That's good. All right. What am I forgetting this time? We should be good. All right, so picking up where we left off, now going to start the car and see what our comparison numbers are. .5, so we still have that same roughly 0.2 voltage drop. Amperage output at idle. About 44. Turn our loads on. I want to see if that voltage regulator picks up. Oh yeah, AC compressor making chirping noise. The voltage regulator picks up without RPM. That's one of my concerns. So let's go ahead and throw everything on. Check our voltage, see if the regulator picked up. Yeah. 14, I'm happy with that. Amperage. Woo! 58. Definitely happy with that. Let me cover that. I wasn't expecting the condenser fan that soon. Let's check again. Still at 14. 72. Me likey. That's a huge improvement just at idle. Sold. Ecstatic with the results of this Powermaster alternator. I believe that wraps up this episode. Join us next time.